Question one. What I thought was interesting about the play was the Greek culture and the variety and obscurity of the gods, specifically Dionysus. Like, it's pretty obscure that there is a god for wine, theater, and ecstasy, and all the other gods kind of represented um, things that aren't normally associated with gods. Question two, three themes that were important. So I found that there was a lot of battle of the opposites, and within that, I found three sub themes: freedom versus order, which was can be found through Dionysus versus Pentheus, and what they represent. Dionysus represents wine, theater, and ecstasy, while Pentheus represents like order. And then another theme is rational versus irrational, and I've found an example of this through when Aguai kills her son. She let irrationality take over her rationality, and she ultimately regrets it. And then the third theme I found was imagery, and which can be seen through the vastness of the mountains versus the enclosed city, or the vastness of the forest versus the enclosed city. Question three, a quote. I have this passage: "You have a glib tongue, as though in your right mind, yet in your own words there's no real sense. Wretched man, how ignorant you are of what you're saying. Before you were out of your mind, but now you're raving mad." So I originally thought that this questioned some of the god's purpose, like questioned Dionysus's purpose as a god, but when I looked into it, SparkNotes said that it was an inversion of sanity versus madness, which makes sense because Dionysus is the protagonist of the play, although he does not necessarily represent good, and it kind of pokes at whether or not following we should be rooting for Dionysus, for lack of a better word. Question four, Manades. Manades are the followers of Dionysus, and they're shown through when he's banished to the woods and they follow him to dance with him in the night. And I think this just merely shows that, I mean, that time was a sexist time. The women didn't serve as high as roles as men, and I think that just says comments on Greek theater that women are merely followers and don't really serve a purpose. Question five, why is Elvis on the cover? And I think Elvis represents Dionysus, and because he represented like theater, like partying, ecstasy, and he ultimately dies, which begs the question of whether or not, once again, should we be following Dionysus? Like, is his influence as a god good? Question six. So two questions I have from myself. Why are the people so casual with the gods when they interact with the people? I just found that, like, if a god were to come into my world, I'd be in awe. And my final question is, why do some powers of the gods trump the others? For example, why couldn't Aguai like realize that the lion was her son? And yeah, thanks for listening.